Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for Jay McFarlane vs Nick Campbell. Nick Campbell emerging victorious to take the Scottish heavyweight title, first to hold that title in 71 years. And this was a crazy topsy-turvy fight. It ended in the 7th, but it was action-packed, drama-filled. Not the highest quality of fight in terms of the action at times, and I've sometimes say this, it looked like two homeless guys fighting over a wedge of cheese, but it had a bit of everything. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. I knew that this was a prospect level fight in terms of Nick Campbell being relatively inexperienced. He was 4 or 5-0 coming into this one. Jay McFarlane is sort of a bit of a gatekeeper journeyman in the domestic scene. So you knew where the level was, but it had a bit of everything. I mean, the first round, Jay McFarlane with his head movement, he looked a little bit elusive. Nick Campbell, who's 6'6", 6'7", he was looking a little bit stiff, a little bit upright. McFarlane was able to thwart him with some of his head movement, but you always knew that Jay McFarlane, the shorter man, who was 276 pounds, heading into this, that how long was the gas tank going to stay full? And not long. He had an okay first round that had a little bit of everything. You had him landing some shots on Nick Campbell. He was able to get into the inside relatively easily. Nick Campbell really wasn't sort of putting up too much resistance, allowing him to get to the inside. But Campbell also landing the jab. The right hand, right uppercut was shown in there once or twice. Then you had a really strange, bizarre second round. And this sort of was the start of what became sort of some back and forth. Because from that relatively strong first round, McFarlane almost like didn't want to be there in the second round. Shaking his hand after a punch. It looked like, was there an injury? That he was complaining to the referee. Was there something with his eye? Was there something with his leg? Bad body language. Looking back to the corner. You sort of thought, is this going to be ending early? He looked very tired heading into that second round. And obviously Nick Campbell starting to land the jab with more consistency. Jay McFarlane's almost zero defense, hands down, eating shots, trying to wing away with big looping shots, occasionally landing a right hand or a left hook. But it started to take a pattern for this round 2, round 3, where Nick Campbell was asserting his sort of authority on the fight. Behind the jab, behind the 1-2, and it was pretty basic stuff. Like I say, it wasn't super high level. Nick Campbell, not very fast, looked a bit slow in plotting, but he was just being more effective. Then almost out of nowhere, and I sort of thought, is this some sort of last chance saloon sort of round? Because Jay McFarlane sort of springs into life in round 4. Starts landing quite a few big shots. Some decent right hands, some decent body shots, some decent left hooks. Nick Campbell, obviously was starting to feel the weight of these punches. Backing up. McFarlane in this fight was managing to walk him down at times. But then it sort of resumed back into Nick Campbell having success in round 5. But he was also looking very tired. By this stage, McFarlane, no defense, hands down. And he was eating shots, and Nick Campbell taking advantage, landing some good right hands. Round 6, possibly the craziest round I've seen for a little while. It was almost to the point where McFarlane was stopped. He was just eating shots like tic-tacs. It looked like it could have been stopped at any moment, but then McFarlane, out of nowhere, has some success, lands a right hand, follows up with a couple of other shots, and then he hurts Nick Campbell to the body. Campbell retreats. McFarlane continues to try to work him to the body. You could tell that Nick Campbell didn't like it. He was backing up, trying to get out of the way, trying to stay out of harm's way, and ultimately gets out of the round. But it was a case where, for a moment, he looked in some real trouble, didn't like what was coming at him with those body shots. And that was from a point where early in the round, it really unloaded onto Jay McFarlane. It looked at the point where he's going to get that stoppage. But then in round 7, it was all over. So he manages to drop Jay McFarlane with a right hand, or more of an uppercut, and McFarlane beats the count, but he's like out on his feet. There's nothing left in the tank, completely depleted, was never going 10 rounds. I was surprised it went 7, because this could have been over at different points, completely gassed. And Nick Campbell he's just landing at will. The referee finally jumps in. There's a little bit of a protest, but Nick Campbell advances, and really what was sort of a bit of a crazy topsy-turvy fight, as I say. But I think it also highlighted Nick Campbell is still very raw. He's got a lot of work to do. And he is an older fighter. He turned pro late. What is he now? 32 years old. 5 or 6 fights on the ledger here. This was, as I said, ahead of this fight, a step up. Jay McFarlane does have some skills. We did see some of his durability on display, the head movement at times. He was able to make Nick Campbell look relatively basic. And he is, he relies on those boxing fundamentals, doesn't have huge speed, but he's got good height, good reach. He was landing frequently with the jab and also the right hand, and that was his money punches in this fight. So on the back of some fundamentals, he was able to get the win and ultimately stop his foe, Jay McFarlane, to take the Scottish heavyweight title. But obviously, I think there's a question about how far Nick Campbell can go. Because, you didn't, on the strength of this, go, this guy's going to fight at a really high level. And I've seen some people complaining on Twitter that this fight shouldn't have been this high up the card or possibly even televised at all. But I thought it was fun. I mean, these guys came in here. It was entertaining. But it's not exactly the purists are not going to love it. But like I say, at times, 2 homeless guys fighting over a wedge of cheese, it did have that sort of dynamic about it. Nick Campbell, he's in that same stable, Boxer and Sky, with Steve Robinson. There's a few prospects there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, given we saw Steve Robinson, who also pretty raw, pretty basic, get beat the other week by Shane Gill. Wouldn't surprise me to see Gill versus Nick Campbell at some point. And I think that Gill is a lot lighter than Jay McFarlane. His gas tank clearly a lot better. And that was one of the issues, because I think if Jay McFarlane had better conditioning, he'd come in a slightly lower weight and been ready to go the 10 rounds and been able to do the 10 rounds, Nick Campbell could have been in some trouble, because clearly in that 6th round, he was hurt badly by the body shot. I think if McFarlane had something left at that point, he may have been able to take an advantage, or someone else who is betting edition could have. But obviously, Nick Campbell, he gets the win. It's a good learning fight. What his level is, that's unclear. For Jay McFarlane, I think we could see him in these similar sorts of fights again. It wouldn't surprise me to see him against Steve Robinson at some point. It's probably a relatively evenly matched fight, and one that can really sort of give Steve Robinson some rounds, and he's been sort of back in the gym training, etc., trying to correct some things. But fun fight, topsy-turvy, back and forth. McFarlane, for all money, looked gone at different points, comes back, is able to sort of hurt Nick Campbell, but Campbell emerges victorious. What did you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.